Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Y'all are brewheads? Yeah, we brewheads. So pour a glass of craft beer, we can do this. Yeah.
What's good, y'all? This is C Certified Brewhead, and welcome to the 4th annual 2022 Top 10 Breweries in Quebec. I am here with the homies, Matt from Vox&Hops and Noah from Beerism. Gentlemen, I'm going to give it an applause, even though we're on the same screen anyway. Let's go.
Oh.
Love you both, first and foremost.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Everyone's here for you guys. This is awesome, boys. 4 years in a row, eh? That's cool.
4 years, here we are. It started on a whim, on a let's just do this, and we did it, and it worked, and it was fun. And then you lost power that first year, which was funny because, funny enough, it happened to me like 2 weeks ago when I was doing the top 10 Quebec metal albums, the top 10 Quebec metal albums. I had no power. I had candles. It reminded me of that night, the first time we hung out and went through the best Quebec breweries. We brought Noah on the following year because how could we talk about Quebec beer without Beerism? Mm-hmm. It's a pleasure to be with you guys.
I love
you too, man.
Yeah, it's this has been, I was saying to you guys off air, like this is one of, and I mean it, like one of my favorite times of the year. It's always really cool to kind of reflect, you know, because during the year you're just always looking for the next thing and like, you know, paying attention. We're talking, blah blah blah. You're doing pods and what content, but when you actually get to reflect and we get to really talk about like, hey, these are the people I think performed the best this year, and we all put our list together and we combine them and, you know, agree, basically just a numerical thing. It's math essentially, but it's just like a cool time. It's fun. We get to hang out. There's no stress. There's no interview, not like stuff. It's just fucking faves. We just, it's really cool. And we get to kind of give the flowers to the people that outperformed. And it's exciting.
Yeah. And I feel like this year I went through a lot of changes with the way that I look at beer. And I think, Craig, because of your move and everything and your ability to get Quebec beer, you probably have a different perspective on what's, you know, going on here versus where you are now. And I mean, Matt, you're just Matt, right?
I'm just Matt, the craft beer magician.
Oh,
but in case people don't understand the reference of Craig has moved out of the province of Quebec. He now lives in Ontario. He moved throughout the summer, but he is still very involved in the Quebec craft beer scene. I feel like you'll never be able to get away from us.
Not at all. And it's like I lived in Montreal for 10 years to the day, and I was representing Ontario craft beer equally whilst being in Quebec. So I see it the same way. I'm representing Quebec beer equally whilst being out here in Ontario. The difference is it's a little harder to get. For like when the PR packs were kind of at their peak, they seem to have strangely almost disappeared. It's a weird phenomenon. They were around the entire time BAOS existed, and then this year was by far the least amount. So, you know, when you, by that nature, you're sort of maybe trying less different beers. Maybe you start to, like Noah, you mentioned a change in your habits, and you might start to just buying the same similar brands that you just kind of dig. But a lot of Quebec breweries are preferred to drop it off at the house, whereas Ontario always shipped, and I think that would be it's a bit more of a challenge. But huge shouts to Nathan from Nathan Does Beer. Funnily enough, he lives in Ottawa, but his parents are right by me in the next town over, and they see each other every month. So we do like a Nate's parents mail. So he gets me shit, I get him shit. Like he was at Sankiem today, so I just gave him the list. And
that's amazing.
You know, so I'm actually getting more Quebec beer being away through someone who lives in Ontario than I sort of was before. So I'm doing my best to stay on top of it, but I feel like I was, you know, I only moved the end of July, so that's 7 full months of the year in Quebec. Plus, obviously, I brought everything with me that I already had, and, you know, maybe I might have missed out on new releases towards the end of the year, but I'm very much in tune. I still speak to everybody. Like, nothing's changed. I'm excited.
Well, I think what's so amazing about beer in general these days is that there is so much being released constantly, like every single day, that FOMO, you almost can't have FOMO anymore, right? Like, I remember when, you know, there was the Dunham release that was like 2 or 3 times a year, and it's like, oh, I didn't get to try that one bottle, whereas now it's like there's new barrel aged stuff they're dropping every week or whatever, and like Misorum's a new beer every week. So at this point, you can get a good understanding of what's happening in the scene without literally trying every single beer, because it's literally impossible.
Yeah.
You can only drink so much, and you can only afford so much, and you can only wait in
Oh
line
yeah,
so much.
this is
It is very, very cool, and I will say this, that compared to other years, a lot of the beers on our list, I remember doing this last year and being like, well, I only had a few of these because they're hard to get. A lot of these beers and a lot of these breweries, sorry, are now distributing because they
yeah,
moved up their volume of capacity, and they're getting distributed. Most of these breweries on our list, which is cool if people are listening to this and they want to get their hands to stuff, it will probably be available in your craft beer
yeah,
store for about 80% of the beers on our list this year.
Yes, definitely.
yeah. The only exception would have been if something like if we were talking about Oval or you know Brete Sauvage or something like that. Maybe not, but otherwise, it's it's very easy to get everything now.
Yes.
That's true, and
Yeah.
we should preface this by saying that our lists are our favorites. You know, it's the ones that we appreciated the
Yes.
most, and then we hashed out together our cumulative list. But these are beers that we drank. So I did not drink an Oval this year. I've never had a Brete Sauvage, so obviously they can't be on my list. So they might deserve to
Hmm.
be there, but for me personally, I did not have them, and I don't know about you guys. But the people that I put on my list, and then we hashed down to this list, are definitely breweries that I drank from, that I enjoyed, and deserve some massive praise for 2022.
Yeah, definitely. And that was a really good thing to mention that this is just
Yeah.
personal opinion on our favorites. And I was also want to mention that I feel like this year was the easiest to, like, we had probably 6 or 7 that were the common ones between all of us, and we had to decide on the other 3, which felt like it was easier. And I think it was because of what you said, Matt, that a lot, like, say, one couple of years ago, Bar Canada wasn't in my top 10. I know they
Right.
deserve to be there, but it's only because I hadn't tried them. This year, I drank a
Exactly.
lot of Bar Canada, so it was a different. So I was able to have a solid perspective on what their output is. And I know they've got the new
Hmm.
Auckland brewery that now they're pumping stuff out. Montreal got a lot. I got people to get stuff for me. I got more on the way thanks to Nate. So like it's a different scenario, and I think it speaks to like the growth of the brewing scene that now we're all able to try all of these different things that maybe before, except for the Oval Brera Savage or whatever. I had one Oval this year at Pullman Wine Bar on Park. Fire was the last bottle. Like, what's the saison? What's the one?
Espinay.
S
That's,
ink. I,
that's the name.
I drank the whole. Tiff was drinking wine. I just drank the whole bottle to myself. It was absolutely glorious. But that was all I had, so it's a little harder to.
It's so drinkable.
It's impeccable, but it is hard to put those type of things if you have one beer. Probably Laval should be the top of this every year, I guess. But unless you live in, it's a Val d'Espoir, I think. Like, good luck. So, the way we
Yeah.
arrange this too, guys. By the way, we tried to put it in some sort of an alphabetical order at first, but oh yeah, it didn't really work out completely. And what we did the last 3 years were we all drank the same beers. So we'd have, of the 10 breweries, we would have 4 beers and we would all drink the exact same of the 4 beers. Matthew's idea this year, which was fantastic, was that each of us have a beer from 9 of the breweries, and then our number 1 brewery, we all have the same one. So every brewery will have a beer represented tonight by one of us. So we split it up so that nobody did any back-to-back beers. So the alphabetical order kind of went out the window a bit there.
That's true. There's no like
And
massive build up. There is a number 1 brewery, which we did last year for the first time because they deserved it. And
Yes,
it was Cinq Baron last year, in
it
case
was.
people didn't check that out for 2021. So we continued doing that again. We wanted to choose the best brewery, and then we just sort of mishmash the others. So it's not like the one that we start with is not as good as the one that we finish with. It's a top
No,
10, but there is a best brewery that we've all 3 decided upon.
correct. But there's not like counting down from 10. There wasn't like number 10. It's
Exactly.
it's all essentially equal. And we just picked one. We thought with the same criteria from last year that just maybe outperformed the others across the board with whether for everything from branding to the variety of liquid to the consistency
Exactly.
and the experience at the brewery, the whole works. So
Exactly.
with that, fellas, how do you feel about we get this bad boy going?
Let's start the motors.
yeah, for
Let's
sure.
start.
So the first one, oh yeah, you guys have. I fucked up and forgot to do the thing that you guys are going to show. So I'm going to pour off camera, but do you guys want to show what you did to make this more fun?
Hell yes, we wrapped our beers so that we can all share beers
Sure.
at the same time without giving any goddamn spoilers away. So as always, I'm on brand. Cheers to my kids for helping me wrap these after supper before we started recording this.
That's cute. Ah, fuck.
Well, I'm starting
Fuck.
a gold blog, so I'm on brand too.
A gold one. I love
Craig, Craig, don't
Yes.
slip on the floor.
it. It's carpet.
Do not slip on your carpet.
I'm not going to do
Please.
it. This is everywhere. Oh my god.
Yeah.
To be fair, it's
I know what beer that is, and it does that. This version.
Yeah, and it's that. I thought it was just because it's a bit older. Because some of the stuff I had were things I had sort of sitting around that worked. Look, I'm just like covered. This is hilarious. Of course, it had to happen
Every time.
I'll see if Tiff can bring down a cloth. Anyway, Noah, tell us who the first one is.
Hey,
It's actually
so
the first time.
the first
It's
beer
first time.
is. What, did you say something?
I didn't say shit.
All right. Anyway, is Sir John
Oh yeah.
Hey, should I give him an applause? We can.
and. So this particular beer is a Citra and Sultana IPA, 7.2%, and that's about all the details on the beer. But yeah, so
I'll be right back. Tiff's not coming.
I haven't. Well, you know what? I've had a few Sir Johns this year for sure. I still haven't been to the actual brew pub bar brewery, but I've had a few because I've really been drinking a lot of IPAs this year. I've always liked IPAs, but this year in particular, I've really just been going to town on New England haze. And so, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, at my local beer shop, which is Multi-Hops because I live in Verdun, they almost always have Sir John, Buck Canada, and now Brewski pretty often. They don't have Masorum, but Masorum's up the street. So I'm pretty good at getting everything here. And so I'll pick one up here and there. They're not my favorite for IPAs, but they do a solid hoppy lineup. And I haven't had too many of their stouts or lagers and stuff. Matt, have you?
I have. I've had one of their big stouts, the 1201. I think it's a maple syrup. I think it's spicy too. I'm a vegan. I don't drink beers with lactose, and a lot of their big stouts tend to have lactose in it, so I tend to avoid those. But they're an all-round, very well-rounded brewery, and it's notable to mention that it's the first time that they're on the list, I think, which is awesome because I definitely saw them coming up when they just opened, I think within the first 6 months, and I was like, this branding's fucking amazing. The beers were crazy green for the first few years because they just couldn't make enough beer and get it out. Their brew house was very small at first when they were just set up in Lachute, right on the main strip there. But then the greenness became a part of their characteristics. A lot of people sought out, which is an interesting thing where in essence, it's a flaw of the beer, but it became a characteristic of the beer, of the brewery, which is interesting. But now as they've expanded, the greenness is gone. And they've sort of like honed in on the craft of making IPAs, probably the way that they always wanted to. But a part of me sort of misses the little green aspect of it. But the branding is always on point. They don't fuck around, these guys. They're beer cans are always super interesting, will definitely draw you in. They don't do anything half-assed. Max and Joel do not fuck around. They're all in if they're going to do something, and their brand shows that. The brew pub and in Lachute is a perfect like little extension of the Lachute environment, and I think it's perfect. It's such a perfect location. I wish it was closer to my house. Obviously, I'd be there all the time. Very stoked that they got the new brew house in order. Now they're shipping and distributing to way more places, such as La Canette on St. Sebastian Street here in Montreal, which I love and I associate with. Shout out to Kevin. They're doing great stuff. Their crispy boys are fucking excellent. Their haze is very solid, and they do some sort of like sour with fruit in it, which is interesting too. But all around, they're like one of those full package breweries that can make just about anything, and the brand is just so goddamn strong that I can stand behind it and I support them 100%. Love them.
I agree.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was just trying to be funny because I was away. I heard because I was cleaning and I could hear it through the headphones. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, Matt. If you pick this guy up, it is crazy green. So,
what's it
okay,
called?
Cool. Yeah. I mean, I actually still find their stuff pretty green, but I don't know. It's interesting because more and more as we're seeing such a wide range of this type of IPA, from Buck Canada to Sir John to Brewski to Toltec to Messorum to Cinquième Baron, who manages to nail New England IPAs, even though that's not necessarily like their specialty.
Yeah.
You have this kind of range of the Cinquième Baron being more on the super bright but balanced, Sir John being on this, like, I find more cutting sharpness, where it's riding that line between astringent and sharp and burning. Then Messorum finding that middle ground now. So if you like one thing a little bit more than another, then you're gonna like go towards that brewery, or that'll be your number one or whatever. So I find that interesting to see now the subtle differences in taste for the differences in the way that these beers are made.
Yeah, it's. I heard all the things you guys said before, and I definitely agree with the like probably not my favorite of all the haze. I think Noah, you said that just before, but I'm finding it becoming more consistent. So like every time I went to like Canada, I always got whatever Sir John that he had. Whether Matt, you mentioned the 1201. I had that this year. It was fantastic. I still have in the fridge that there's a chocolate orange stout that I got from La Canette before I left, which I've been looking forward to getting into. I find their stouts probably arguably more consistent than the haze, but the haze has definitely been a lot better. Nate got me a couple recently. There was a Wicked Pale Ale and some of the just like whether double, single, even the triples and stuff. They've been like pretty damn impressive, and I feel like it might be what you guys were saying. They've sort of come out of that green world and figured their shit out, figured out what they're going for, and been able to consistently produce it. It's great, and they've got that rep. They're in that world. They're in the conversation of, Messorum, Bar Canada, Brewski, so on and so forth. All those folks. So it's
hell yes. They're in the people cool. the hype world where people will line up overnight when they do their summer release, their anniversary release. So,
which is pretty.
That means something.
Yeah, which is pretty dope. So they definitely deserve a spot. If I'm not mistaken, they were in definitely last year and probably the year before. I would say. Definitely.
Were
they last year? Oh shit!
No,
I
didn't think they were. We were saying that we thought this was the first time.
Oh fuck! You're right. We said that earlier. My bad. Well, that's pretty cool to have kick it off with a first timer. I think that's pretty exciting. It shows that it's like evolving. Because if we had the same top 10 every year,
but they were in top 10. And sorry, I'm looking right now. They were in the 2020 top 10 though.
But not last year. I just saw it. Check the thing. You put the Maddie in your top 10 personally, but because we didn't. I think for me it was because of the thing we said before. It was just I didn't drink as many last year as I did this year. This year, excuse me, I had a lot of Sir John this year, so for me it was a no-brainer.
Awesome. Well, congrats to the whole team there. Cheers to you all.
Yes, cheers to Sir John, guys.
Big time.
Number two. Who we got?
Number two. This is
Mr.
me.
Craig.
Well, of course, if we're going to be celebrating a brewery, we're going to celebrate with the beer that you did with them. It's Brasserie Generale, or BG Brasserie Urbaine. Legendary. This was the beer
last weekend.
You were there
which
last
I can
weekend?
get into after.
I would love to hear about that because Max is a fucking legend. We've had him on a bunch of times. This is we got a lot to say about him. This one exploded. I think it's probably like 6 months old by now. This is the C'est Juste la Bière collab. The second version, though, not the original version we did in a 4-pack, which I have beautifully on my wall right here. I look at your faces every single time I do a pod, boys. This one was a little explosive. I don't know why, and I forgot about that. I probably should have opened it in the sink upstairs. It just wouldn't stop splurting. It went fucking everywhere. But yeah, man, BG have... I think they must have been in last year as well. I feel like over the last couple of years, they have just gone over and above in every style. Whether it's, Crispies, their haze, their stouts, like the barrel-aged stuff, the sours. I just feel like they're really consistent across the board. Max is doing a phenomenal job running the ship over there. Really interesting beers, well-crafted. I mean, Romain doing the labels. He is an artistic genius, that man.
So goddamn.
It's super cool. I really feel like they're very, what's the word? Like, consistently creative with every aspect of the product, which all of us tend to value. Noah and I recently did a podcast maybe a month or two back with Max just about blending and barrel aging, which we'd never done before. Like, focused just on that, and that was really fun. Like,
yeah, it was.
You know what I mean? Learning a lot about that and how blending really works, because they are phenomenal with it. Because obviously Noah, we did the 4-pack. For people who don't know, this 4-pack here, if you're watching the video, it was Noah, so Beerism, Vox&Hops, BAOS, and Hoppy Bitch. We did a 4-pack with them, which is pretty damn creative and cool. And La Canette, sorry, shouts to Kev. And shouts to Kels as well for the video. We did a super fun video. That whole thing, working with you guys and doing that this year was just one of the highlights of my year, man. Like, love you guys, and the project came out so well. I did a Pils, Noe did the American Strong Ale, Maddie did the West Coast IPA, and Gab did the low ABV Stout, and they were all fantastic. And then we did the second Pils. I know that we're planning on keeping this series alive with different variants from each of us of different styles. So this was the New Zealand hops in the second Pils. But yeah, man, Noah is just smashing things over there. There she is, Blendism. So Noah, maybe tell us about Blendism and any thoughts when you went there.
So noisy.
No, I have to keep writing the.
It's these earphones. Everyone always freaks out. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm just turning the tap on for a moment. It picks up ambient noise like insanity.
Yes.
What do I think about BG? Amazing. I was there this past weekend. I was there maybe about 6. Actually, I think it was last winter to do Blendism. Anyway, got to see Max and went to their kind of new and improved tap room. They had 4 or 5 Imperial Stouts on tap, so I was just in heaven. They even had one from Sorum on tap, which was kind of funny. They just recently had an anniversary, last month or a few weeks ago. So I got to try a couple of things, and it always super solid. Their lagers are great. They just he sent me home with an Italian Pils and then their American lager, which I love because it's just like a sharp, it's kind of like a Czech Pils kind of thing to me. They just released this 4-pack. Make some noise. Which has all these different barrel-aged versions of their Imperial Stouts. But yeah, kind of what you were mentioning, Craig, about Max and their... I'm sorry?
C-certified brewhead, thank you very much.
Oh, sorry, C squashified fluhead. He has this perfectionism to him in a very humble way. A lot of brewers can be a bit arrogant about their beer, and he's like the opposite of it. He wants all the criticism. And I know a lot of brewers say that, but then when you do, they get defensive. He's not like that at all. He's like, yeah, that was bad. This was good. Like, he straight up gets it, and just like the kindest dude.
Yeah, I agree. Maddie,
fucking right. BG, man. BG smashes everything. Their brand is on point. Romain Lassalle, what a killer artist, as you mentioned, Craig. Just captures this essence of what BG is now. Is fucking awesome. And their barrel aging is very fucking interesting, and I'm excited to see how much more stuff comes out as they keep growing that and refining that part of themselves. It's exciting. They shut down one of their tap rooms to focus more just on the main giant one,
Yeah.
right? If I'm correct on that this year, which probably was a tough decision
Yeah.
to step out of the city and focus on their out of the city, out of Quebec City. It's a little bit out of the ways, but not too out of the ways because Quebec City is not that big, but it's not downtown, right?
Right.
So that was probably a
Exactly.
sacrifice they had to make to just focus on the beer, which is what Max does. Also, probably, I think it was my favorite beer project that I did. I did a few this year, as I tend to do. And C'est Juste la Bière was definitely the easiest, the most fun, and the project that one of the projects I'm most proud of 2022. The message
It was
that there's so
amazing.
much drama in the beer industry is just, I still stand behind that, and I hope that the project keeps seeing releases coming out and different versions of everything. I stumbled across, I think they redid yours again, Greg, I think.
Really? Which
Even
one? The second one or
I
the
think
first one?
so, unless Kevin from La Canette misunderstood and it was an old batch from the summer. But I'm stoked about it. I want to see it keep coming out, and I want to see more cool beers coming out of that. This consistency, right? From lagers to the stouts to the blended stuff to the haze to the pale ales. It's nonstop. To the west, he doesn't stop. There's
Mm-hmm.
just fucking great beers, and the brand is good. Excellent people running it. They deserve to be there. Cheers to BG, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheers to BG. Huge one. Alrighty.
Cheers to them.
Now,
Number three.
Number
Obviously, if
three.
anyone's been watching what I'm drinking, you can figure out where we're headed with this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And
good
so
stuff.
people that we love, people from Montreal, excellent place in the old port of Montreal. Of course, I'm talking about.
Ooh, look at that. Santa Claus here.
I taped it to the bottom. It's not helping me. And of course, I'm talking about Brewski.
Hey.
Now, Brewski are scientists, which is what I love about Brewski. Ran by Derek, their brewer. He's a mad scientist, basically. He loves to fuck around with stuff and is hypercritical of everything. Wants to examine stuff and recheck stuff out. I love going there. The location is amazing in the old port and the Marché Bon Secours. I'm correct there. It's Marché Bon
Correct.
Secours.
Wow, so.
In Marché Bon Secours. It's just so fucking cool. They have the little pub area on one side, and then they have the giant tap room on the other side, and they just redid the little pub area. It's fucking awesome. There's a bakery that they're associated with. Killer beers, and honestly, I still stand by this. I think they probably make the best smoothies in Quebec. There's the argument of who did it first there, but I really, really like their smoothies. And you can never go wrong with like a berry smoothie. It's very easy.
Yes,
So.
I agree.
Love it.
It's all about the berries for smoothies. Like the orange fruits, they can be awesome, but it's like a 50-50. But the berry ones, man, they almost always just slap, as the kids say.
They do, and it sucks. It sucks for the brewers because the berries are just so goddamn expensive right now.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
But I would also agree or say that whether or not they were the first to do it in Quebec, I feel like they were the first to double down on it in Quebec.
Yeah.
Like they went at it hard and fast. There might have been others that had been released. I don't know, but they really went for it, and I think. Like, you can keep their smoothies in the fridge for a year and they don't explode or anything like that. They're well carbed. Like, you even have head retention on there. If I did not mistakenly see that.
Look at that.
That's something.
Yeah.
And they're smoothies. They nail it. And then I personally really, really, really like their IPAs. I think they're almost second or third in the province for me. And they did some good work with their stouts. They're still a little on the thinner side, I find, but the ones I've had recently were pretty good.
Oh, yeah. I managed to. I went to Brewski a bunch, probably 3 or 4 times in the few months before I left. So I was like, my cousin came from Australia. I took him there for brunch and having smoothies, and I hung out with Patty from Overhop there, and a few other times. And it's like Matt, you said, it's a vibe on the big patio. We went there for, I don't know if it was Canada Day or something like that, where there was fireworks. There was something going on. Maybe it was the Quebec Day. What's it called? Saint Jean Baptiste. Could have been something like that. Actually, no, it probably would have been too busy. Whatever. There was fucking fireworks and shit. It's just like, it's a vibe. I couldn't agree more about the smoothies. I think they do the best smoothies in Quebec for sure. I thought that they did with the first, but I guess who knows. Yeah, they are consistent in all of that. Nate got me some haze last time we went down, and exceptional. They have a very unique approach in their haze. It's all super dank and super resiny, even for their juicy ones.
Yeah.
But it works so well. It definitely caters to my palate. I think Derek is one of one of you boys were just saying that the scientists. Maybe it was you, Maddie. You were saying Derek's just really particular about his shit, and he'll figure it out. And I really respect his approach to beer. It's super welcoming and diverse. They did Link Up this year as well, which was great. Or was it the first year? Either way, it was one of them. I can't remember. It's a blur. But yeah, man, I fuck with Brewski heavy. I really, really enjoy Brewski. And yeah, I don't think they've not been in our top 10 in any of the 4 years.
I think they've been there every single time.
Yeah. Extremely impressive story. Go on, no.
And to kick it, I think we need to probably kick it on to the next one. But before that, the podcast that me and you, Craig, did with Derek was, I mean, how many did we do together? I don't know, like 20-ish, something like that.
At
15,
least
10?
At least.
Okay.
At least 20.
Whatever that number is, like, that was in like top 2 or 3 for me. Like, just the three of us really nerded out while also kind of getting drunk and laughing at the same time. And that combination of like silly, this is your hobby and you're geeking out on it with just having a good time was a lot of fun because, like you said, he's basically kind of like a mad scientist. And I developed that one podcast alone is probably what convinced me to better respect smoothies in the sense of, I think sometimes we get blindside or tunnel vision around like purity and like what something should be, and just because you make a spaghetti marinara this way, it's almost like we get stuck in that and we can't expand our minds to other things. And so when he's talking about how challenging it is to throw some kind of adjunct like, I don't know, something wacky into a beer and having it actually taste good and work, that's huge. And in some ways harder than brewing a solid lager, like if you're throwing all these adjuncts and you have to be figuring out the what that's going to add for your sugar content and then boost your alcohol and then add fat to your beer, and is that going to ruin your head retention, like all these things, all this to say, like, that conversation kind of changed my respect for being silly with beer, or gave me more respect for being silly with beer.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
Sorry for the rant.
Bring back brutal juice. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, that was a great one. Honestly,
I fucking love that beer.
That was one of my favorite ones.
Legit love that beer.
It was phenomenal. And the coffee.
He still hasn't put coffee in the
It's going to be trash.
It made no sense that beer worked.
The coffee part of it. The coffee is what worried me. The sour and coffee bitterness. Like every Péché fruit beer is god awful. So I was like, it's just going to taste like that. It's going to taste like Péché, but even more intense. But somehow he probably did a cold brew, and so it didn't have the bitterness, and so it just gave chocolatey coffee notes and didn't. Anyway, fucking good.
Bring it back. Bring it back, Derek. I know you're listening to this.
Come on, Derek.
All right.
So fuck around. All right, next up,
Noah's.
4.
All right.
This one is old Mr. Forrest. This is his personal fave. If you know Noah, you know it. You've probably been there with him.
Only in the past year, but yes. I am talking about Masorum
Woo! Wait. There it is.
There we go.
Noah's new neighbors. Tell us why Masorum on this year's top 10.
Well, I think there's a few reasons. I mean, for me personally, I'm there all the time because it's up the street from my house, and it's kind of become this like local spot for me because it's so around the corner. But aside from that, I've always like maybe the first like 6 months I was on the fence with the greenness of their IPAs when they first opened, but then shortly after that I've always kind of preferred their IPAs to most others in the province. Not necessarily by like waves and bounds, but the top ish for me. And then more and more I just developed a taste for their style of brewing IPAs, and so I generally always have some in my fridge. But I think this is probably true for the last couple of years, but definitely this year, their barrel aged stout game and their wild beers are really fucking good, and not like. So for the wild beers and the sours and stuff like that, the trend used to be like, let's get as sour as possible, like American style sours, like kind of small pony with a real intensity. But they're really going towards like refinement and stuff, and they're like lightly tart and perfectly funked, and like they really are killing it with that. And then the stouts, they're doing that like double mash, so like the body is just ridiculous, and they're getting slowly away from the crazy pastries and more kind of taking that new style of stout and kind of going backwards with it a little bit. So they've done several that are just bourbon barrel aged imperial stout or bourbon barrel aged imperial stout with vanilla, like kind of basic instead of like cookie crumble and blah 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 blah. Like they're not doing much of that. Thankfully, that trend I think is dying this year. Thankfully, what do you think about that? Actually, do you
I
think
hope
it's
so. I'm fed up of it, but
The
I
pastries
think
in
people
general.
need to grow up. Like
or
enough.
just stupid shit? Like
Wow, Matt.
I think people need to the sugar. Get off the sugar train. You got the sugar and the goddamn hazies. That's enough there. Keep stouts bitter and
Okay,
chocolatey
Dad.
enough.
I agree with you though. I do agree.
It's too much. If
It's
I
too
gotta
much,
buy a
man.
beer, it's nice to share it with friends, yes. But sometimes I just want to drink a beer by myself, and you can't drink those by yourself.
You can, but
It's
it's not a lot.
unfinishable.
Yeah,
It's too sweet.
I
Anyways,
agree.
but that's my old man.
so. I know we're already way behind on time, so I'll let you guys talk about Masorum. But before that, this is the one I'm actually drinking, which is a double IPA that dropped this week. Also, this tomorrow is their huge holiday release. So if people are interested, well, this will be afterwards anyway.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
But if you go
they're,
back in time to today, you can do that. Otherwise, well, I'm sorry. Now I gave you FOMO. Yeah, this is Phil Derive, and it's double IPA with Citra, Talus, and Azaka.
All right.
It's on the sweeter scale of what they do, but that's also what I like. I'm definitely going to have my preferences. Like a double IPA that's like super sharp and somewhat green and like zesty is kind of my thing. This is different. This is like more like an orangey, slightly sweeter double IPA. But if you get the same thing every time, it's also boring. Everything they do is actually quite different. Anyway, please.
which is refreshing because at first it was not. So that's I'm cool that they're doing that. Masorum, obviously, I love them. They are metalheads that opened a brewery that is just fucking killing it. People from Ion Dissonance, people, the manager of the whole fucking place is Alex Herrier from Despised Icon. The Last Felony, Vince is the brewer. It's just fucking amazing to see friends succeed, and they're fucking crushing it. Every time I go there, it's bigger. like the back area. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I went there for their anniversary this summer, and it's massive now. It's like walking through never-ending hallways at some point. It's just truly impressive, and I'm so excited for them. Filion killing the artwork all the time. The pressure that he must have
every
to come
time.
up with new stuff. I talk to him about that all the time, and he's always like, "Nah, I get it done." But it must fucking suck to continually have to match and keep up with the Vince's creations, and to create something that stands on brand. They had the ceremony, which I did not go to, but it looked really, really fucking cool. I
That was
think
fun.
like there's new things that are coming up next year. I don't know. I haven't spoken to them, but I imagine that they're already thinking of building more and more events like this. These very, very cultured and on brand and curated is the word I'm looking for. Events for what the brand of Masorum represents, which is like classiness, zen at the same time. If you've ever been on their patio there, it's so relaxing. It's very interesting. Which is actually where I met Noah, which when it was like 3 tables. Now it's like there's like 70 tables.
Sure.
It's unfucking believable. And yeah, I'm stoked for them. I can't wait to see. I'm excited that they're distributing a bit more. I don't know what that means in the grand scale of business, what that means. I think it's cool because I get to try more of them without having to go there. I like that. Craig.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I won't go too much because you guys have said it all. I've always been a fan, even from the beginning when they were kind of samey. They were very green back then, and just sort of watching them grow and grow the brand. They're all really great dudes. I went a couple of times before I left. I went for my birthday this year, and that was the first time back in a while, and I was blown away too. How far the patio went back, that new kitchen area. Like I was like, Jesus Christ, this is like not the place I remembered. Because I guess I hadn't been since probably 2020, previously to this year for obvious reasons. But yeah, man, really, really impressed. The whole place was just dope. This year I had some. Noah got me. I had a lot when I was there. Noah got some via Nate to me recently, which I wasn't in love with, but I also know that they are pumping stuff out at a pretty consistent rate, and obviously not everything is going to be a home run. But I feel like the smoothies are great. Like across the board for the brewery that they're positioning themselves at, from their crispies are just A1. I really feel like they don't get the love for the crispies.
Yes,
they don't. But
yes, I didn't mention that either, and I was there tonight because and it's the most crispies I've seen on the board yet.
Sick.
I think it was like five different lagers on. At least 4. It was 4 or 5, which is so like there was an Italian Pils, a German, like a Czech lager, like a
they
New
dropped the
Zealand
Mexican
Pils, which they did.
Okay.
And then it might have been 5
Mexican.
then.
All right. They're really exceptional. I had the Italian one recently.
Fucking.
You got me the Italian one. That Italian one, impeccable.
Yeah.
I tried to not drink those because I wanted them to last. They were just so fire. So like I don't know, I feel like they're unsung heroes for that. I haven't had many of their stouts since probably 2020, but I know you've said really great things. But also like Matt, I'm very tired of adjuncts and stuff, unless it's like something small like coconut or vanilla. But I'm definitely more of a barrel aged dude right now. But yeah, man, very impressed.
Almost all of them are barrel aged right now.
Fantastic. So I'd love to get my hands on some at some point. I know they're really expensive and hard to get hold of, but we'll figure that out. But yeah, man,
they're not that bad.
No, okay. Well, maybe
it's getting better. The more that they're releasing, the more that people don't have money to blow. They're a little easier to get.
That's a good point, actually. Maybe I'll hit you up if you're ever getting anything. And I know they usually have limits of like 1 or something though. So
yeah.
But either way, nothing more to say. Masorum, absolutely a must go. If people go to visit Montreal at the 3 places, I tell them to visit. This is my segue. I tell them to visit Brewski. I tell them to visit Masorum. And my third one, I actually switched this around because of the beer I have to drink. The third one, this is a brewery I went to this brewery first, and then I went to Masorum on my birthday this year. This is my favorite crispy brewery in Montreal or in Quebec. Silo.
Yeah.
Woo! I am such a fucking massive fan of Silo. JP is someone I've known for quite a while. I felt like I always thought he was really strange, and he thought I was strange. And I feel like as I've got to know him, because I liked all the trendy stuff and he thought it was ridiculous. And I feel like we've sort of been on these opposite ends, and now we've really met in the middle on this crispy. And I really, his dedication. So JP, sorry, he used to own La Succursale. He also owns Bira, and obviously now Silo, which opened I think in 2020. That was his project. You know, he was one of the brewers who did the pilgrimage to the Czech Republic, I think in 2018, 2019, where like Bim from Godspeed went. I think maybe even Maddie from To the Nail went. A whole bunch of brewers went to the Czech Republic, which was a government initiative from them to send it out there. And now, you know, Ontario and Quebec, thank the heavens, are flooded with Czech-style beers. And to me, this is my favorite stuff to drink. I just love drinking lagers. I'm actually drinking their, this is their Bock beer, a 6.5% called Sauvé. I haven't had a Bock in a while. So,
Bock.
Yeah. But yeah, I just really love it. Their space is warm and inviting. They do super interesting shit. I actually haven't had this beer, so I gotta take a photo. They do stuff like the Maliko pours, which I'd never had before. And JP was explaining that, and I got to try that. And it was just like such a cool experience, man. Like going to the breweries, you know, showed us around, and like they have dope food, and I don't know. I'm just really impressed by the whole operation. And they don't only just do Crispies. I mean, they do some, like, they did this wicked Sea Hop IPA. There was just money. Very, kind of what you guys were talking about before. One of the breweries were talking about just refinement. Maybe Masorum refining their stouts and their sours. They're very refined in everything they do, regardless of the style. So it's just a real... It's just like... When Dan, Tiff's cousin, his parents came for Thanksgiving, so I told him where to. I was like, go to Masorum, go to Brewski, and go to Silo. They're my three, and he chose Silo because his dad's a bit older, British bloke. He preferred that, and he lost his shit. He bought the T-shirt. He even brought me some Silo beers. Like instead of bringing me beers from England, he brought me beers from Montreal when he came out here. So, yeah, man, I'm just super, super impressed with them. I think there's a lot of people making fantastic Crispies across Quebec, but Silo have really hung their hat on the style. That's what they do. That's what they do well. They've got like 4 Luca Taps, and literally there is nothing better in beer than a Luca Tap. I'll let you guys ramble. I could go on forever. Now. They got 2 in the front? Oh, man, I really have to get back.
Oh, 2 more now. They might have one for each slogger. I don't know.
Wow. Okay, amazing. Please, love to hear what you guys think.
Silo, I put him in the same category as Derek, in the scientist, very hyper-focused about everything that's going on within his tap room. I love watching brewers in their breweries, what I meant to say, everything that's going on in their brewery. I love watching brewers in their brewery and like just watching them tinker with their toys.
Yeah.
I think he's just so goddamn proud of everything that he's done, getting that perfect yeast that he's found, to everything else. But he can do other things, and he does do other things with beer. I love Silo. I love the crispiness of it. I saw Gab from Boreal posted some story that he was drinking a Silo beer, and I was like, you should definitely do a collab.
Oh, and they did.
Silo. And they did, and that was I poked that. They did 2 actually. They did one haze, which was a Silo one, and then they did the crispy, which is what I wanted them to do. So I can't say enough good things about them. There needs to be more crispy beers as I'm becoming an older craft beer enthusiast, and maybe it doesn't reflect in this list, but on my personal list, it definitely did reflect, is that I like breweries that make a lot of crushable beers, low ABV, something you can enjoy maybe a few more of versus just smashing double IPAs all night. Silo is one of those breweries. You can go there and enjoy maybe the whole tap list and walk out there feeling a little better than doing that elsewhere.
Love it. That's a great, well said. Mr. Forrest.
Yeah, and I think with not trying to sound redundant, I'm not even going to talk about the lagers because I think both of you nailed it, from the cleanness of what he's doing, the recreation of old styles, and then him kind of playing with new versions of lagers that he's experimenting with is amazing. But like I don't know how to say this without sounding kind of pretentious, but you ever walk into like one of those beer depths in like a neighborhood that it's almost like the beer depth's a little bit more trendy looking than it is content, So if you want like a solid IPA, you literally go through the whole fridge and
Yeah.
they don't have anything that you would even want to drink that's hoppy. But then I saw the silo stuff sitting there. I checked the dates and it wasn't like super old. And they were perfect because he I think what he did with his hop beers, like so he's done a few pale ales and a couple IPAs. It's like a kind of a throwback to Vermont style IPAs at like the birth of Heady Topper kind of thing. So a little bit on the caramelly, not caramelly, but like fruitier maltiness than this like sharpness. And anyway, they're I feel like everything he's done with hops has been great. I could see people drinking it and kind of being like, meh, it doesn't have that punch. But I think that's the point for him, is like he was trying to create more, I don't know, just like a throwback a little bit cleaner, something that could sit on the shelf a little bit longer. And I thought he pulled it off really well.
Absolutely. I love his Silo C, the like more like resinous style, old school IPA. I crush that all the time, and I do like that. And not a lot of breweries do this, and I think it hopefully it comes back. I understand the market, so people the FOMA, the more and more new products. I have to try it. It's a little bit different. New label, new hops. I have to have it. I understand that. But Silo seems to have a little bit more of the flagship staple beers that are in rotation. And that is exciting for a brewery. For me, I like having my favorite beer and going to get it and knowing that it's going to be available. Once again, I'm sounding like an old man.
I think this is a whole other podcast I think we could do, because Noah, you mentioned before about his drinking habits changing. I think mine have too, and Matt, clearly you're feeling, and I'm feeling away. Like there's certain styles that I'm leaning towards now, even though I typically like the trendy stuff. Like I'm over lactose, I'm over pastry stouts. I want crisps, West Coast IPAs, and barrel aged stouts now. Like it's weird. I feel weird. It sounds like we're all changing.
Can we go back for a second?
Yes.
Did you say
lactose?
No lactose.
I'm over lactose?
We were over lactose in 2018, probably.
I'm over lactose. C-certified brewhead, not Craig.
That's my quote.
Please go on.
On my social media. On my social media there, when you see my quote there for this episode, I'm over lactose. C-certified brewhead. Team lactose.
I deserve it. Yeah, at Team Lactose. Follow now. Yeah. Sorry, Matt. I interrupted.
Hashtag I'm over lactose.
You know,
I love it. But Silo, cheers to the whole crew at Silo. Keep doing what you're doing. More crispy. I'm stoked to do anything with you. You know that I write them all the time, wanting to do stuff with them.
JP's like, who is this guy?
who is Matt?
This crazy guy.
Zany.
All the yellow and black.
He is a little bit metal though. Up next, we have a good friend of all of ours. Not that anyone else is not a good friend of ours, but
of course,
someone that I feel like I could have grown up with in Two Mountains, and someone that I like to collaborate a lot with. Now, Craig was supposed to drink this brewery, and I didn't argue the fact that I most definitely wanted to have my beer in this episode. So, of course, we're talking about Kanawaki Brewing. He releases year-round, multiple times a year, Cryptopsy, which is a New World Pilsner, which is my band, Cryptopsy's beer. It comes out probably 2-3 times a year. It's phenomenal. Fantastic. This is a different beer. This is a beer that he had made for Vox&Hops Brutal North America in 2021 when I released 24 collabs in a week. He still had labels left, so he's like, "Ma, can I do it again?" And I was like, "Of course you can do it again." And he did it again, and it's way fucking better. It's so goddamn good. This is Cold Haze Warm Blood, the New England double New England with blood orange. It's really really good. This one, 8.5%, just killer. Kanawaki, what can I say? He's awesome. Super underrated. When everyone just this week, some guy wrote me, a fan, of the podcast wrote me, Matt, I'm coming to Montreal. Where should I go? Obviously, I have to go to Masorum. Obviously, I have to go to, and I'm like, you have to go to Kanawaki. If you have a car, make the trip to Kanawaki. You want haze, you want no lineup, you want to have killer food, you want awesome Krispies at the same time. You want to, just go to Kanawaki, experience it. He always collaborates with killer artists such as Philip Ivanovic, and he's used Philip for a bunch of other labels. He uses local artists. He's amazing. I can't like Kanawaki enough.
Couldn't agree more. We all did some collabs with Kanawaki this year. I did some really fun ones.
I keep forgetting that's all this year. In my head, that's like years ago, but that and C'est juste la bière.
Yeah.
Like the three of us did.
And the Monstrosity.
Two collabs.
With Kanawaki.
Together.
The three of us.
Yeah.
Yes. So we did a bunch.
Yeah.
I did one right before this one. This was called Shelfabiki, which is a Monte
Well, we don't
Carlo.
want anything to do with just you.
Well, relax. I'm going to show it in a second. Which I really appreciated. This is it's a pretty ridiculous thing. If you want to know what it means, shoot me a DM. It's pretty like any Aussies, I hope, are really proud of me for getting a beer in Canada called this. It's absolutely insane that someone okayed this.
And that says a lot about Drew, because he probably told him, and he said yes.
Yes. Oh, I told him, he was like, "Fuck yes," and he did it straight away.
I love him. I feel like I could have grown up with him. I feel like we could have grown up drinking beer in the street together in Two Mountains. I don't know why, but I feel that connection to him.
Yes, he's just such a G, man. The other favorite project, though, that we all did together, this is just one part. This is called Monstrosity. It was a 2-part smoothie sour collab with 8 content creators. We did this one. Noah and me and Noah did this one, right? Fuck, I can't remember.
You guys didn't play by the rules, but yeah, keep going.
What do you mean we didn't play by the rules?
It was supposed to be a monstrosity, and you made a good smoothie sour.
Oh yeah, that's true. This was Noah's idea, actually. And then
I put carrots.
No, was it?
Yeah, this is great.
Oh,
this is awesome. This is BAOS, Hoppy Bitch, Marty and the Craft Beers, and Beerism did this one, and I think it was IPA Podcast, Vox&Hops, obviously, Femme de Bière, and one more for your side. Oh, Mike, Beer Brit. So really fun collab. So many people.
It was actually Beer Brit's idea that got that whole thing started.
What a legend.
He had written an article on this.
You remember that?
Beerism.
Yeah, I never heard of it, but
yeah, exactly. So he wrote an article about the trends coming the following year, and
combined them all.
I
don't remember how it started. It was just someone commenting on a photo or something.
Drew hit us up and said,
actually wanted to do
beer just like that.
Yeah.
And then we had a thread called Monstrosity in our Facebook Messenger for about a year, I think, until this project came to life.
Exactly.
But Drew,
and then Craig and I just made like a straight up smoothie sour that was delicious, and then laughed at you.
Screwed us. I put marshmallows and carrots in mine. Keep going. Yeah.
Yours was definitely more fun. Ours was more fun.
Vegan marshmallows. Let's get that straight.
Marshmallows and carrots, okay?
Fun. Vegan marshmallows. You know what he did? He did not put marshmallows, and he just put vanilla.
Oh, cheeky motherfucker! I get it.
True story. Oh, that was his way of getting it. It's actually a better idea, I think.
It is pretty dope. But I feel you that like
you know what, the beer was good. Both of them were good. It worked. A lot of people didn't like it, but I thought it worked. I mean, for the absurdity of what it was, I thought it worked.
Agreed. I agree for sure.
Come on, with cinnamon too. Don't forget the cinnamon.
Yeah, it was obscene. But like Drew, you're right. Back to Kanawaki, that they like. Drew
it was literally called Monstrosity. Like,
yeah, we didn't play. You're right. We did do that. All I want to say is that I agree with Matt. You're so right. There's like no, all the beers are fire. The haze is so underrated. So like Beast and Wizard, I think it's called. There's a bunch of really fantastic, consistent New England IPAs, and if you're looking for those, like they don't get the credit that they're due. Absolutely, their Crispies are fire. I haven't had many stouts, but I've heard amazing things. I know they drop like occasional barley wines and shit too. So I just feel like it's a vibe. It's not that far from Montreal. I went there to pick up these ones. I hadn't been there in a while either, and I didn't get to see Drew. He wasn't there, but I saw Amanda, their head brewer, and she was mad cool. And the place is just, it's just a vibe, man. It was really cool. Just on the weekend, they had a lager festival. Drew was asking me to come down. I wasn't able to, but I know, like, Bim from Godspeed was there. Like, he hit me up because he thought I was still in Montreal. And just to be able to bring all these people in, they're in a very unique space. Me and Drew ran a few events. I also didn't get to go to eat. Fuck, it's been a year for me. But we did these events where we brought in Third Moon beer, and we brought in. I think we might have done a Badlands one too, but we brought in a bunch of beer to have these things because Drew is in a native reserve which doesn't have the same rules as the rest of Quebec, so he can bring shit in from anywhere legally.
A native territory.
Territory. What did I say?
Reserve.
Is that? Oh, it's different. Okay, I apologize.
It's territory. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. And just being able to do those events. Cancel me. Cancel culture. Twitter.
No, it's just no. When I did my episode with Drew, he kept saying territory. And then I caught on, and I was like, "Oh, it's territory."
It's territory.
Yeah, and I was like, "Okay."
Just
tell me.
Yeah. Education. See, it's what it's all about.
Yeah.
But anyway, I fucking Kanawaki heavy. Drew is such a good guy. He's really just down for fun shit, and he's just like a great dude who's really embraced all of us in the scene, like to really go and put his brand behind stuff. And I just respect him a lot, and I just think I hope to see him get more props than he's been getting. Noah.
Yeah, I won't spend too much time because I know we've been running long, but I couldn't echo that more. I went to the summer festival that they threw, which I would like to make. I can't remember the name of it. Yeah,
K-Town and Friends.
It was just it was K-Town and Friends. It was a lot of fun. It was like
hot
heat wave times high sun, and like they tried to put up shelters, but like in that kind of heat it gets difficult. So I'm guessing if it was like a less hot day they might have had a better turnout, but there was still loads of people. Had very hype breweries there and just good breweries in general, and I had a lot of fun. I was there with some friends and got to hang. That was probably that's not the last time we hung out, but one of the few times this year we actually saw each other, and you were there for a while, which is cool. Got to see your family again, which was nice.
It was awesome.
But Drew is spectacular. Very well rounded, right? Like he can hit a dry stout just like he can hit a New England IPA, and across the board, great stuff.
Yeah,
I think it's an interesting place because it has to cater to the locals, so there has to be normal beer. And that normal beer is like I don't know if you guys have had a Bridge recently. It's fucking good.
Is that the blonde ale or something?
It's a blonde normal beer. It's fucking killer. It's so good. I think that I've told Drew this, and I'll keep telling him, and if he's going to watch this. So Drew, I hope that this year in 2023 you get distribution. You get around that legal aspect of being stuck on the territory that you can't distribute because of the license you have, the restrictions that fall into that. I hope that 2023 is the year that happens, and if it's not, people go check it out. It's definitely worth it.
100%. Love it. Alrighty, Mr. Forrest, next one.
Wow. Stall. I haven't got another fridge yet.
I can stall it. So so K-Town. So far, we've only got 3 more to go, 1 more each, and then we do the number 1 brewery that we believe performed the best from Quebec in 2022. It's a solid list, man. Just going through it again, actually talking about it though. Like you can look at the list and it's like, okay, obviously it's dope, but when you actually talk about it, you realize just like, man, these breweries are like doing some work. It's very
absolutely,
impressive.
And I think like a lot of like factors fall into it, and that I keep hearing like repeated is consistency, identity, variety, staying true to their roots,
good vibes,
being cool people, good vibes falls into
cool
that
people.
too.
Good, yeah. The cool people is that you're right, man. You're right. That those were the things that we're mentioning for every one of these.
It's interesting that's
what we value.
have with,
yeah.
Yes.
I wonder if that's what that must be what we're making our decisions on then.
Another thing that I'm thinking about as I'm looking through this list, and I think that really good breweries that are succeeding and that are really working really fucking well are somewhat owned by the brewers. And if we look through the list so far, Sir John,
yep.
I don't know if they're owned by the brewers. I'm not confident on that statement that I'm saying. BG, definitely Max.
Yes.
Brewski, Derek is an owner. Masorum, Vince is an owner. Silo, JP is an owner. K-Town, Drew is an owner. The next one is also going to be. I think that that's a big part of an identity.
The next
A
three
big
are
part of
actually, the next four are all owners too. Yeah, you're right.
I think it's like a big thing. Like you can open a brewery, but you need a brewer to be a part of the company. I think it's important. I think that for the identity of a brewery to work, I think that the brewer has to have ownership.
I think that's a really interesting and accurate point.
Because
I agree.
If not, it doesn't work. And if you think about breweries that haven't worked recently, I think that that's a big part of it.
Wow. This is something I want to talk about. I feel like we need another podcast next year, and I want to talk to you guys about that. I think that's fucking fascinating.
Yeah, it's been something that's been resonating with me this year, and I feel like I don't know why. It's because they're the artist, right? The brewer is the artist, and a lot of brewers are underpaid.
Yes.
If they're not an owner, so they're just gonna hop right.
Yeah.
To another job, and then there goes the identity of what's actually in the can, which is scary, right? So
fuck, amazing. I really want to put a pin in that. Mr. Forrest, that's some good stoling.
So you think people know what brewery this is based on the glass?
People might.
I am stoked that you have so many glasses of all the breweries. I'm impressed.
Noah is great.
Oh, this brewery alone, I think I have like 10 different glasses.
Damn.
Are you that guy that stole them from that release?
He is.
Yeah, I actually held them up. It was probably a pretty like sad point in my life, and like I went in with the gun and the whole thing. It was... Fuck Canada.
Hey, wait. Hey. Noah's fave.
So I'm actually anxious to try this.
Okay.
Because I think it's a double. Yeah, it's. Do you remember like they had their double IPAs and they were all the names of Roman emperors?
Yes.
And they had Caligula. But this is like double dry hopped Caligula. So I think they're like haze is changing so fast, right? So the crazy double IPAs of 2 years ago are not the ones of today. So brewers are constantly either needing to do what Masorum does and just change the name of beers constantly with new artwork, and like everything is a new thing. Whereas in someone like Vox Canada, like they keep the branding, but they're like updating it to a double dry hop version of it or whatever.
I've noticed that a lot. That they're doing a lot of breweries doing, what's it called? Do that as well, Trailway and stuff like that. Seems to be a thing. I'm down for it, or like a double version of like a pale ale or whatever the fuck. We just ramp it up.
Oh man, this is Citra and Nelson, and then Nelson is like dank,
punching you in the dick. Yeah,
Vox has a killer brewery. What's funny is, and I'm sure I said this last year when we did this, when they opened, they wanted to only make Belgian beers. And I don't think they've made one yet. So
I know.
I think that's interesting and funny. They're one of the kings, right? So there's a handful of kings in Quebec, and they are most definitely one of them. Very stoked that they've opened the new massive production facility, because there's a lot more beers getting distributed. Yeah. I get my hands on them. I would like to see more variety from them. Maybe the variety is just not getting distributed. I don't know if they're making Crispies at this point. When I think of Vox Canada, I think of haze. I think of the big barrel-aged stuff. They do a little bit of smoothies. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never actually been there to taste it myself. But everything I've tasted in a can, fire. They make probably the best double IPAs in Quebec, I would say.
Fair point. I don't know if I could speak to that exactly. I haven't had as many, but yeah, man, they had that new facility. So they're in Gatineau. They had one called Old Plain that they opened up this year, which, like you said, has now resulted in the beers being a lot easier to get, which is very welcome. They've been doing. I feel like there was a period where maybe their stuff wasn't hitting last year, and I feel like this year everything I've had from them was like really, really solid. There's probably a period that, obviously new facility that they've got to dial it in and
scaling up there, scaling up a recipe. Just imagine like scaling up a spaghetti sauce recipe.
It's a lot, man. You're right, and particularly a very particular spaghetti sauce recipe. There has to be this consistency, and like you've got these snob spaghetti sauce consumers.
Not your grandmother's gonna slap you.
That's what I'm saying. Your nonna is gonna come through with a fucking boom, boom, boom.
Exactly, but those are the craft beer geeks.
That's what I'm saying.
But yeah, I'm picturing this Donna as like God has a big beard, like just like this giant bearded Nana that's like in plaid, but also
an apron,
a plaid apron,
foreign style skirt in some way, whatever that might mean, and then like the strong accent and just like slapping.
Like how would they? You
have to do it, Greg.
How fair you?
It's not racist. It's paying homage. No, they're like I feel like Buck Canada are doing some really cool shit, man. Like I just like seeing them around. They're obviously like pretty much the Haze OGs of they're up there with the.
They also reinvented the stout in Quebec, in my opinion. Not this year, but kind of just redefined what stouts were here anyway. Like, I mean, the Americans did it first, but they really, really nailed that. They nailed it before anyone else could. And then Black Canada caught up. Like Masorum caught up, and even like BG lately. They're doing very similar stuff, and some others as well. But yeah, they really started that. Which is
very cool, man.
What is Buck Canada for you? No. What makes them worthy of the top 10 for you?
I think being the kind of like staple and the thing that everything else should be measured against for the last few years is huge. And this last year they've had to scale up and concentrate on certain things, and now what they have is distribution, which is amazing. So like we talked about, we can actually get them at various depths and stuff. I still feel like they need to tune in that new scalability a bit, but they're still certainly making some of the best beers in the province. I want to see more bloggers in distribution, though. I haven't seen one of those in a while.
Yeah, they just had that.
I don't think I've ever seen one.
I have. It was called L'Aspiration, and I remember it was like $7.50 for a lager, and I was like, "Are you fucking crazy?" It was probably a little much for the time, and maybe because they were doing it in such small batches and it was costing them that much. I imagine they weren't bleeding people; they were just passing on the costs, right? But like, hopefully, this will see that. It's cool that they were one of the OGs of haze and stouts and such in Quebec, pastry stouts and such. So now they're able to, expand a bit more, get it out. You used to have to kind of go there, and it was more of a treat to get it. That's why, for me, they were never in my top 10 because I just never really got to drink them. It was so difficult to get up there. I didn't have a car when I was in Montreal, so I wasn't able to just zip up and pick some shit up and come back. So, like, I feel like it's almost like you don't even really need to say it. If you know Quebec beer, you know who Bar Canada is, you know why they deserve to be in there. I think their consistency, Matt, because I don't know if you heard Noah when you were getting the beer, but we were talking about the elements of what all of these breweries have in common that got them in the top 10. And I think Bar Canada has that. I can't really speak to the vibes. I know the guys, they're cool. They're a little shy on the podcast and stuff, but they've always been good to me. But the beers, they're really consistent. I feel like they got the diversity within the area that they've chosen, the Masorum type area of expertise that they've chosen. They dominate that shit, and they do it really, really well. And their releases, their anniversary releases, and their special shit. Kitty's got something to say, huh?
He agrees.
Yeah.
What's your cat's name? All the listeners are going to want to know your cat's name. Sheep?
It's Rooney. Rooney.
Well, my listeners aren't as well versed in Rooney's cat calls, so it's Rooney, peeps. Rooney agrees with what Craig is saying.
Yes. Any other
next,
thoughts?
we have a.
Yes. Are we? Yeah, we done. We're moving on.
I think so.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Up next, we have someone that's I don't think has ever been in the top 10.
No.
I don't know why they haven't been. They probably inspired everyone that's ever been in our top 10s ever.
Yes.
They are the OGs of craft beer in Quebec. Who's this? Who's drinking this? I think Craig is drinking.
Love
got
that. Oh, sorry.
Judiciel,
Yes.
the
best.
legends.
The best.
Do you know what's interesting? The reason I put them in my top 10, I'm going to be honest, like Noah's had them in his top 10 every single year. And Matt and I didn't. Now, since I fucking leave Quebec, and guess what I want to drink all the time? Péché Mortel. I love this beer so much. It is, Noah's always said this, and Noah, this is why I realize I'm turning into you. Now, like you said, we swapped. I got the basement cellar, and I'm drinking Péché like a crazy man. I love this so
I'm
much.
like a haze fiend.
And you're a haze fiend going to Masorum 5 times a week.
And snorting lactose off
Just
like hookers' private parts.
You know what? There's nothing wrong with that, bro. Like, we have to trade every now and then, but like,
There's no judgment.
Yeah, we all gotta live. We all gotta
No
live.
judgment.
no judgment. We don't do that here.
We're kink positive on this podcast.
You're goddamn right we are. And, you know, I mean, just look at this. This is like the epitome of coffee stouts in Canada, if not further. I would like to taste something.
Fucking world. Literally the fucking world.
Literally the world. And it's like $2.99 or whatever the fuck for a bottle. Anywhere you can get it.
It's stupid. I drink entirely too much of them. Oh my god, there's 2 empties of it.
They're sitting right there. Oh, it is just so exceptional. I didn't even get the
This
BA
way.
version because I've got some, but every time I get Nate to always, whenever we do a trade, I was like,
They're
give me another
honestly
cup.
though, just the OG.
It's beautiful, bro. Like, it's
The OG's
just
just fine too.
it's a perfect beer. and I
That
feel
glass too, with that beer.
yeah, it's just money, right? Like the old
Like that glass, I feel like was designed for that beer. Not the barrel aged version, but the regular, like sharp coffee.
Yep.
Bitter. Yeah, sweet. Yeah. Oh my god.
It's just
I
it's gorgeous. I know Noah's gonna
my
gush.
pants are getting tight talking about that beer.
Noah was supposed
My
to do this
pants
one.
are getting tight talking about this. That's the second quote. I like this.
It's like, look at this. This we're getting all the gems tonight, boys. Noah was supposed to talk about this because this is his gem, but I wasn't able to get the K-Town package. It didn't work out. So I happen to have some, and it's never a problem for me to be like, oh, well, I'll open some Péché. But it's just, I mean, this is just one beer they do. Obviously, they do a lot more beer. Noah can speak about that a bit more.
Yeah.
I lived around the corner from the brewery. It was my favorite to go to for quite some time from moving to Montreal in 2012. And even before I moved there, every trip I would go there too. I've been a big fan of DDC for a long time, and JF. I was speaking to him the other day actually, and such a good dude. The co-founder, and he was the brewer for a while. And they're just an institution, and I just kind of feel like, I guess we all sort of agreed. For me, once again, it was this beer specifically that made me want to include them in this year's top 10. But there are many, many, many other reasons, just aside from Péché. It's just, I think this is a very good reason to include them in the top 10.
Yeah, I think for me, in previous years, I didn't necessarily include them because I think I was always taking that frame of mind of like, okay, who's made a lot of changes this year, who's done this or like done something new in the last few years, aside from branding changes and redoing their brewery in Saint Eustache or Saint Jerome, sorry. There wasn't like a whole lot changing with Judiciel, but I think for me personally this year, and I don't even think I talked to you guys about this, I wanted them on the list, and I'm really happy that they are on the list because since I started craft beer, they've been my kind of number one, and this year in particular, I feel like I kind of hit a wall with trying new things all the time and realizing, okay, like I still like to be aware of what's happening, but there is such a value in finding your go-tos and just enjoying them, and Judiciel is, I'm I'm always at the store buying their 4-packs. Almost every seasonal release they do, whether it's a Scotch ale or a lager or whatever, I'm always trying it because, with the exception of a very few, they're always perfect to me. But where they completely lack, at least in any contemporary way, is with their IPAs. Like they did Morality, which was a classic and actually kind of revolutionary in Quebec. Morality was a collaboration between Jude Ciel and The Alchemist. I don't know if you guys remember that.
I do.
So that was a collab between The Alchemist and Jude Ciel, and was kind of like ushering that new IPA for the province. But since then, they haven't really been able to catch up in that area. But every other area, I think they're basically perfection.
Yep.
Dude, the stability, the volume, it's always fucking perfect.
Yeah.
It's so good. You pick up a rosé hibiscus in one place to another, months apart. They're going to be basically the same, and that's like a mastery of a craft right there. That's like going to the old school style of craft beer from Europe, where the brewery makes one beer, and they go to work every day and they make the same fucking beer. And there's minute adjustments, changing the stuff, refining, making it better. It's an art form, and Jitziel is an art form. Desert Island beer question. My answer: it's a horrible, horrible beer to drink on a desert island, but it's Péché Mortel. It's the best fucking beer in the world.
Oh,
It's so
I couldn't agree more.
That would be
good.
mine.
JF is a sweetheart. I have not been to the new revamped area in Saint Jerome as of yet. They're working and revamping Montreal.
It's really nice.
Now, I'm excited to check out the new Montreal location. It needed a revamp because it was a bit tiny and old school. So I'm excited to see what they do there, and hopefully they meet the area, because the area is fucking crazy that they're in. There's like 8 craft beer bars that are way bigger and way better established, like space wise and vibe wise. So I hope that Zuciel meets that in Montreal and matches that. That's like, I hope that's a plan. They're the best. They're one of the best. The Journée Pêchée is something very avant-garde. To have like a beer release across the globe. No one in Montreal has pulled that off yet. No one in Quebec has pulled that off yet, except for Zuciel. So I am stoked they're on the list. They were not on my list because I have lots of people that I love and wanted to showcase and shine younger breweries. But I'm happy that they're on the list because I drink a Péché Mortel whenever I can.
Oh yeah, love it. Alrighty. The penultimate...
very, very, very quickly before we move on, they're dropping their winter 4-pack this week. Like, it's already in stores, so by the time you listen to this, maybe it's still in stores. But this year's is particularly exciting. So it has typically the Solstice de Val, the barley wine bourbon version, and then a few others. But for the first time ever, you guys know the beer Grande Noirceur?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So that the first time ever, it's a barrel-aged version of that, and I think it's rye whiskey. So I'm very excited at that.
I was looking at that the other day.
Let's move on.
Yep, it's beautiful. I love it. Go get that.
Up next, is number 9, people. We're at number 9, and we had to wait for number 9 for the brewery that's closest to my house. If anyone knows where I live, they know where I'm heading to this. My neighbors, a young brewery, a brewery that does exactly what I was mentioning before: drinkable beers, drinkable lagers, drinkable haze, juicy, not so much haze. They've been doing the weird funky stuff. They've been doing the barrel-aged stuff. Of course, I'm talking about Melon.
Melon.
Love it.
But I love this brewery. They invited me when they had no countertops. They had they were just set up. They had like a homebrew beer available. It was just to see something grow from nothing to something is exciting, and to watch it succeed is very impressive. Every time I go there, it's vibrant. The vibe is amazing. The clientele are interested in craft beer. They're a younger group of people, which is something that is exciting. That they're not going to be old like us and just wanting boring old things. They're people that want new things. They do the November thing where they do like bottle releases. Um, Funky beers is something they're pushing towards. The crisp lagers, such as this one. This is a pilsner, actually. Um, it's fun. Light. You can have a few of them. You can walk away feeling okay. It's a good place to go have a discussion. It's a place that I love. I'm excited to see where they keep going. It's a brewery that I'm watching because I'm excited to see what they're doing, and they're a part of that like trendy lager train with Ildegald, which is a brewery that never makes our list, but that's something we should talk about after.
Definitely should.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Milan is super dope. I think I met them through both of you guys had connections to them, I believe, because Matt, obviously, I think it was mostly through you, but also Noah Mike wrote that fantastic piece on them on Beerism.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And my barber
Mike was there that first time with me there when they had no countertops or anything.
Love it, because you and I went one time by myself to talk to him, Maddie, because my barber's around the corner, and then me and you went one time before they had anything, and we chatted to them. They just canned the first beer. I never, unfortunately, actually got to hang out there and have a drink there and do it properly. I had him on the pod. I was speaking to him the other day, funnily enough, and hopefully get him back next year. But they're just like they started to. I feel like it's really interesting watching a brewery start and how they decide to roll out their products and then seeing them grow into these barrel aged things. Like they just dropped the barrel aged version of their original stout, which was from the very first drop, the Panther one. Panther de la Nuit or whatever, something like that. Which is named after a song, some dude.
And all of their beers are named after songs or have puns. I just haven't come up with a good metal pun yet.
You will. I know if anyone's gonna do it, you'll do it. You dedicated motherfucker. But they just man, it's a really cute space. I feel like they're just really dedicated dudes, super cool. They do a great variety of styles from what I've had from them. Consistency, which is coming up once again, and it's a great vibe as well. They did everything, they had a community behind them. I went on launch day too, and I was very impressed to see this massive line down the block. I think Maddie, you were the first customer, period.
I was, but they weren't open yet, and I did not understand that. I was like, I want to pay for this. I brought them all my I had so many collabs that dropped in a week, and I brought them a bag of my collabs. It was 10 in the morning. I didn't understand that they weren't open, and I took stuff, and I was like, no, I want to pay for this. I want to buy it? And I didn't understand they weren't open, so they opened the cache for me, and I didn't understand.
Either way, you still got number one without waiting in line. But they, they've really added something dope to the neighborhood in Rosemont for those who know, and you can walk up the street afterwards to La Canette and buy everything. But yeah, huge fan. The people, the space, the beers, phenomenal, well deserved. You and I, Matt, had them on our list last year. I just double checked. So this year, I think we all had them on, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so I had a chance to go to their anniversary. Was it their anniversary? Yeah, it must have been their anniversary this year. With my friend Rachel from La Chapelle, and I was super impressed. Like I'd been there with you, Matt, a couple of times, and I always like their stuff, but everything that they released that day was really quite exceptional. So they had, and for you, Craig, I think you'd be particularly into this. Like they had a bunch of saisons that were only lightly tart and really funky and very Hill Farmstead saison style. At this point you could almost say old school, but nothing too sour. Just almost like crushable, oaky, really funky, but just slightly sour wild beers, like the Saison Espinay kind of thing. Amazing. Did a really good job with that. And they had I think a bourbon barrel aged coffee imperial stout that was really good. had a bottle of that as well.
Amazing. Yeah, man. I think they're really well deserved.
And the lagers, sorry.
Yeah, the Crispies.
Great.
I really feel like they're focused on the Crispies a lot. Just the branding is fire.
Oh,
I just like everything about the place, to be honest, and the dudes involved, and even like the social media, the photography is fucking exceptional. I think it's one of their girlfriends who does it, and it's just fire. I'm just really impressed, man. And this is the second year. I think were they on our top 10 last year?
I think they were. They were.
Because they could have dropped off if they weren't consistent. But
I remember he was. I think I made that can the front of the picture. Now that I think about it,
perfect, good memory.
Just that little red can.
Yeah, man, beautiful stuff.
Love them. I'm excited to see where they go next.
Yeah.
We have one brewery left, but before we do that,
which is the number one brewery of the year, we want to talk about our honourable mentions, Matthew.
Yeah, there's a bunch of breweries that could have been on this list.
Yes.
But, not every brewery can be a top 10, especially when we're hashing it between three people. So, Craig, who are your honorable mentions?
So I had three specifically on my side that I think I want to mention. Toltec. They are a fantastic new brewery who opened, I believe, a year or so ago in Boucherville, just outside of Montreal, where the IKEA is. If you live in Montreal, you know the IKEA. Toltec are fantastic. They are definitely along the lines of that Masorum type, Barcana type of vibe, where they're doing, I don't know if they're doing Crispies, but they're doing haze and smoothies and things like that. They just participated in Link Up, which I want to talk about at the end, but they just did a Link Up beer, which is phenomenal. It's available right now. Even when this drops, it still should be around. Maybe the cans are sold out, but they'll have it on draft. I feel like their IPAs are just money. They're exactly what you want. You open that can. Tiff opened hers first when we did the podcast with Fred, and I was just smelling it from the can, and I'm like, that's a fucking good beer. Really impressed. Their smoothies are great. I feel like when I first had them, they were a little thin, and the newer ones that I had, I feel like they've really improved it. I just feel like they're like, if they're not on next year's top 10, I'll be surprised. I'll be very surprised. I'm there on my big who to look for in 2023. So huge fan of Toltec. And obviously L'Espace Public, Simo and the crew. We did a couple collabs with them. Every year we have our Be Out of Our Cants. The OG comes out multiple times a year, and they seem to be dropping this one, our new one, the Blueberry Guava version, is dropping multiple times. So it's something I'm super proud of. We actually had my goodbye surprise party at L'Espace, which thanks to Matt and for organizing all of that. It was really, really fucking cool to see you guys there. That was just a fantastic evening, and shouts to Simo for hosting us all, letting us stay after hours for a little bit to just get lit. Huge fan. Yeah, man, proud of them. I just really love Simon. I think he's probably one of my favorite people in beer, period, and I just love everything they're doing. I think they're really opening the gateway to more and more people. I think they have been on the top 10 before. Maybe they'll come back in next year. Who knows? And lastly, my other one was Harikana. I spent a day not long before I left with my friend Jonathan and his wife Ruth, who just gave birth to twins. So congrats to you guys. Beautiful. We went to we hung out in the park. We went to Harikana, got a whole bunch of beers, sat in the park, drank like a 4-pack in the park. I'm like, this is amazing. Then we went there and just ate food and drank more. And I was so fucking impressed with everything I had from Harikana, man. Like, their Crispies are just A1, and this comes into the convo you mentioned before, Matt, about Hildegard. Wow, you can really realize how much that volume comes from Noah. Wow. I feel like my ears are hurting. Maybe it's but yeah, like Harikana really impressed me, to be honest, overall. So yeah, man, I feel like those three were my honorable mentions. Love them.
Absolutely.
I
mirror all three of those. And if anyone knows me, and the whole staff at Harikana knows me and my family and my children, my kids have crawled across that floor. I did my very first promo video for Vox&Hops at Harikana.
Love it.
Can't love them enough. Their beers are amazing. It's right next to Bar La Ritz, so whenever there's a show there, I drag artists over to do. I've done 2 interviews at Harikana out of 400, so that's not so bad. But,
not too bad at all.
For myself, I have a few. Number one, the first one, my brewery to watch is Jackal Hop. Jackal Hop is a very young, exciting brewery, falls into the same aspect as Toltec, ran by amazing, young, very intelligent individuals. One of them is a massive metalhead, and we've been to a bunch of shows together this year.
Is that
We've been going to
Max?
see Behemoth together. Yeah, we saw Behemoth together. We, we saw Behemoth together. We saw
Behemoth.
Z. I'm laughing at you with your
Wait, who did you
noisy
see again?
When you muted, everything
Behemoth.
changed. Noah, it's so funny.
I went to go see Behemoth. I went to go
Good
see
for a moment.
ZZ Top. I went to go see Ramstein with Max. We've had a great metal summer together. They make great beers. They make every beer, which is like scary if you think about a brewery that's just going to say, we're going to make it all. But the fact is that they make it all really well. The branding is getting better. And I think that that's a big part of the reason why it hasn't made that big of an impact here. The artwork is getting stronger. And I think it's stupid that artwork has such a big impact on the identity of a brewery, but I think that brewers have to pay attention to that.
Mm,
I think it's
agreed.
important. It's stupid. It's stupid, but it's important. It's a part of the package.
It's a business,
So
man, so it's part of the deal.
so I feel like it's getting in the right direction. I feel like all their bottles that releasing, the branding works. The cans are a bit too cartoonish, a bit too childish. And I feel like if they mature it up a bit and make it a bit more refined, it's going to match the beer inside the can. Their haze is good. I have had a stout because I made a stout with them and it was fucking fire. My vertical project, the coffee stout with 4 breweries, Jackal Hop brewed 2 of those, the Echo Session Ale and the Jackal Hop version. Just awesome. A brewery that I love, more of a brew pub in Hochelaga. How can I not mention Mitoid, the metal brewery? It is the most metal brewery in Montreal. First time I went to Missorum, my metal brothers open a brewery, and I walk in there and it's not fucking metal. I was like, what the fuck? Disappointed, but I understand what they've done. Mitoid was the opposite. The first time I walked in there, I was like, I am home. And every time I'm there, I feel amazing. They made light, crushable beers. I was in there drinking 3% Grazzas the other day. Just fucking awesome. Just the ambiance is amazing. If you like metal, go to Mitaid. Enjoy light, crushable beers. And then another brewery, one of my favorite collabs that I did this year was for Brutal Montreal. That was with Lepatskaya. They made a Svetli Vysepny, a light Czech lager. It was fucking amazing. If you like classic style beers, Lepatskaya is the brewery that should be on your radar. They fall in line with a little bit with what Silo's mentality is. They have like a kriek, and I think they're the only people that do this in Quebec. He picks cherries from his cherry trees and makes a kriek with it.
Gangster.
It's on the brewery. It's fucking awesome. So those 3 are the ones that should be paid attention, in my opinion.
I love that. I'd like to talk to you after about hooking up if you want to co-host those podcasts with all 3 of those.
Oh yeah,
breweries. That would
100%.
be amazing because I don't really know any of those guys. So I think I'd love to have them all on next year.
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll talk.
So I'll go quickly through my honorable mentions. One that is almost always on my list every year is Sutton, or Brewery Sutton. So Pat, who used to be at Brasserie Dunham, left and created Brewery Sutton, which is a 100% Brett fermented brewery, meaning every beer that he does is done with Brett. And so if he makes an imperial stout, it's with Brett. If he makes a lager, it's with Brett. And he makes some of my favorite beers in the world just because of the experimentation with it. I've always had an affinity towards liking Brett beers, and it had its like time in the sun, and then no one did it anymore. Like Brett obviously exists in wild barrel-aged beers. There's a Brett component, there's a funk to it. But there was a period of time where people were making Brett IPAs or Brett this. And then that kind of went to like sour this and sour that. but I feel like we kind of lost that, but that's what he based his brewery around.
Yeah.
So it almost like carries this like modern but classic appeal a little bit. If that makes sense.
I went there this summer for the first time, like a
Anyway,
week before I moved, and I stayed in Sutton for like 5 days. And Sutton is so fucking fire. They have incredible. They're two really, really great breweries, Sutton and L'Abordage on the main street, and Cafe
and they both
Yamabico.
do very, very different things too. So you get like
Super different, close
different.
to so many things. I just love Sutton so much, and it's like right by the Vermont border, so everyone speaks English. It was just like such an impeccable experience. So just wanted to touch on that. I remember I told you when I was there, I was looking for one of the collabs. I think Brett Never Sleeps came back that you guys did, but I think I must have been either just before or just
Yep.
after. It wasn't on the menu.
Yeah, it was on tap when I was there, and you were there like a week later. But it probably just
Probably tapped. Kicked,
kicked.
sorry. Yeah. Any other special mentions, bro?
Last one quickly is Avant Garde, who's one of my favorites in Montreal. I really like their lagers. I really like that they're kind of keeping the hoppy lager alive a little bit. Jesus Crisp might be my favorite beer name of all time. Favorite logo of all time. I have the T-shirt. I was there. I was like, oh, no, I'm buying that T-shirt. I'm not leaving this facility without that T-shirt. Anyway, I love other stouts. I actually, when I went to Multi Hops to buy a couple of the beers for tonight's thing, I saw that they brought back this bourbon barrel aged imperial stout at like 15% in a can.
I can't feel my face.
Really
when
fucking
I'm with
good.
You.
Yeah, exactly. That's what is it in French?
Je peux pas sentir ma face avec toi or something.
Yeah.
Je peux pas something. Yeah, I agree. Avant-Garde have been on our list and could have been on the list. Their blending, their barrel stuff is fucking next level. It's really
I got to like sample. Actually, that was either just at the end of last year or just the beginning of this year. I got to go and Renault brought me down.
Yeah. He comes with the hammer and the nails and the
like we were pulling nails, and they just have this like endless sea of barrels. It's really impressive and
unbelievable.
It's such a learning experience for an amateur like us to like pull a nail, sample a barrel, and then the barrel next to it might have the exact same beer, and the barrel might be from the exact same distillery or whatever, or winery or whatever they're doing, and taste it, and they're drastically different. And there's just a magic to it, and nuances to like, okay, over time you realize that this flavor, if you just leave it a little bit longer, it'll probably be okay, or like this is scrap, toss it. And then so this blending process becomes such an art form.
Such a commitment to put the liquid that costs money into it, and the barrel costs money, and then it's a gamble.
Every time.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's fascinating. A lot of respect for the barrel. Anyone who's working with barrels, man, it's pretty crazy. But Avant-Garde,
you gotta have the space, for the barrel for stuff.
Yeah, and also congrats to them for relaunching Jukebox as well, which is obviously Sean and Renault obviously own that, and I just missed that because I was leaving and it just didn't work out. But I know they rebranded, relaunched the whole thing, and it was just very, very cool and super impressive.
Very cool, and the beers are good. Like obviously all the beers are good, and the relaunch Jukebox. Jukebox is an important brand because the Distortion was such a influential beer.
Yeah, big time.
It was everywhere. It was fucking great, and then it disappeared because the trend switched. Right.
Yeah. So they've leaned back into classic American styles with their new shit, which is great. So I'm really happy that they've figured that out.
Absolutely.
So, Number one. It's very difficult to have the best brewery of the year because people like us are personal friends with a lot of these people, and the criteria we're looking at here. You know, obviously things Matt was mentioning before. I mean, consistency. There's breadth of offerings, the quality of those different styles that they're doing. Something like just mentioned before, label art, like branding. It's might be
Branding,
silly, but it's a business and it's very, very key because if you're looking
the
at a
vibe.
fridge,
Yeah.
the vibe of the brewery itself, the people is probably something we shouldn't consider, but we can't help but do because we all know them because we all make content and we know these people. This brewery is just exquisite in everything that they do. I think they're very deliberate. I think they're fantastic human beings. Um, I don't even know what to say. Like it's just like they deserve to be the number one.
Okay, can we unveil all
Let's
of our
unveil
beers
at
all
the
at
same time because
once?
we're gonna have different beers from them, which is great. All right,
Okay,
ready?
fine.
Ready?
Yes.
Ready? Ready? Ready?
Ah!
Oh! Sankiem Baron once again.
Oh yes.
Man.
Thank you.
Taking the number
2 years
one.
in a fucking row, man.
Look, some people might say we're biased. I don't think we are at all. I just really, truly believe that their shit is fucking A1. Matt, maybe you've got your collab with Sankiem right there. Tell us your thoughts on Sankiem.
It's a brewery that they're not pretentious, which is weird because
They're so good.
Yeah.
they're so
How
fucking good, but
dare
they're
they?
not pretentious
How
because
dare
they
they?
could be. You go there and they're so humble and they're excited that that there's some success that's happening for them, and they're questioning if anything is good and why it's good. This is a collab that I did for my 4th anniversary. It came to life when I went to visit Sankiem when they were doing the Transistor podcast festival
Yes.
at their place. I went with Kevin from La Canette and Guillaume from La Canette, and we drove down there. We stayed overnight. We stayed for the event, and I was like, I want to make a beer with you guys. Um, I want to do something fucking dark, something with phantasm. Like let's do something like
Yeah.
Tomby. I wanted to call it Tomb Dust. It was too close to Zombie Dust from Three Floyds. Ossuary came to life after that.
What does it
Philip
mean?
Ivanovic. Ossuary is like a bone museum in there's a bunch of them in Czech Republic and across the globe there. It's like a museum that is created out of human skulls and bones. An ossuary, very death
You're
metal. Come on.
fucked. You're fucked, man.
There's a bunch of them in Europe.
Sounds
They're very,
wonderful.
it's like a thing.
I've been to a church
Um,
in Vienna, I believe, that had it St.
that would
Joseph's in there. That had the whole crypt, and you look in the thing, and there's just a pile of bones. Yeah,
that would be an ossuary.
gangster. All
So
right.
so this is with Phantasm from New Zealand. So Mou de Raisin from Sauvignon Cabernet raisins of some sort.
What's
My
this up?
brain is not my brain is not working right now.
What?
6.5% IPA. It's not hazy. It's awesome. I'm very stoked about it. But them, they're like, come on, every beer, every style,
Every style.
no exceptions. The brand is on point. The beer is on point. Um, they distribute. They're not pretentious. They understand cool like aspects of creating events that are also like encouraging the local area where the brewery is from, which is Almer outside of
Yeah.
Gatineau, like doing the Peaky Blinders, doing where they like Oktoberfest thing where they close the road and they do the podcast events because they have this like parking lot behind the old house which the brewery's in, and they like cover it in a big tent and there's like shows there. Come on, how could you not like someone that's like creating a community, making killer beer, um, excellent humans. It's a triple trifecta of amazingness.
Couldn't agree more. I mean, I feel like I'm the most biased out of all of us. Obviously, Noah, you've collaborated with him a couple of times. I'm business
Yeah.
partners with him. I have a meeting with him in the morning. We created Link Up. This is the second year. This is our craft beer nonprofit with the aim to diversify the craft beer industry. We just stated there.
Ugh.
No, it's I don't know, man. before. So we
I'm
met.
kidding.
I know, I love you. I met Jacob through Chris from Vox and Hops, from Hops and Bros, and who works there now. And Chris is a good friend of all of us. And we had Jacob on the pod. Noah was on that one. I think you knew him beforehand, Noah. And I, became friends with Jacob, and we started link up and talk to him all the time, almost every day, and his wife and the business partners. And they're just salt of the earth individuals. I fucked with them so heavy.
Yeah.
They're just like they gave us. They just go, hey, we can stay at their house. We went down for the Oktoberfest, Matt, that you just mentioned in September, because we never met them in person. I known them for like 2 years.
No.
So we went down and we brought our dog, and we stayed at their crib. They just left the door open. We went there without them even there, and their dog was there, and like we just gave us the run of the house. They're just so generous. That's just them as humans. But then, the festival, like you said, the car park at the back was all covered. He said to come on the Friday because they had the hip hop, which was our shit. They had a sick lineup of like really dope Oktoberfest Crispies. They had Melon Beer, Silo, Brauwerk Hoffman, Bar Canada, Ala de Rive, like a whole bunch of just fantastic beer, plus their own incredible beer and food and coffee and like people selling stuff. It was just like, they're just a vibe, man. Like every style they do, they nail. One of you guys said I think we were talking about it off, like either in the chat or earlier, but like, Sankiem do some of the best haze in Quebec. It's not even really their thing.
Yeah.
That's how good they are.
Yeah.
Lucid Dream in 8% is one of the best coffee stouts next to Péché Mortel. Like, we could drink a case of that shit. It's so exceptional. You did. I remember you got it. And do you know what? I regret I turned it down. Chris gave it to me. I'm like, I can't drink that much beer, bro. And now I have the space. I'm like, fuck, I should have kept it. But it's like, it's just the beer is so, just doesn't matter what they do. This is even, I'm drinking the Schwartz beer that was canned like in like, I think it's like March or February or something. And it's, whoa, that's like 2021? No, December last year. This is a year old, and it's phenomenal. I just happen to have it kicking around. So I just feel like everything they do it crazy. They're doing a bunch of barrel aged stuff. I think recently they just dropped their first like farmhouse. Their Crispies are incredido. I feel like they really focus on the Crispies. Citadin became their flagship Czech Pilsner. I don't know. I could ramble on about them all day. Their merch, Jacob doing all the designs, Dimitri doing all the brewing, and even Steven, who's one of our partners, he does all the finances, and he's very on top of his shit for Link Up. So I can only imagine what he does for St. Guillermo. Just sold to the earth. Jacob's wife Danielle's a good friend. She does a lot of meetings with me, with people for Link Up. Hey, exactly, you know the vibes. Rooney knows, and they're just some of my favorite humans in beer ever.
She just looked at me.
She knows the vibe. I'll let you talk, Noah, but yes, I love them, and they absolutely deserve this. Zero, all bias aside, their products are just A1.
There she is.
Oh, there she is. I see her there.
She's not happy.
That's okay. She wants some of that.
Why is he talking to men? He's supposed to be talking to me.
She wants some rubbing.
Don't we all? Don't we all, man?
Some heavy petting.
Fucking cat.
Can we do a beer called Heavy Petting?
This cat wants to bang me constantly.
With Noctem. Heavy metal petting.
Can I please be involved in that?
Oh, heavy metal petting.
Always.
This is a good idea. I'm writing it down.
I feel sick. That's amazing.
Right,
Noah,
C-certified brewhead.
thank you.
Heavy metal
Petting with Noctem. Noah, tell us why you love St. Guillermo.
I will start by saying this is the first time I've had this beer, which is just Prairie's Imperial Stout. So no cacao, no coffee, no, just straight Imperial Stout. And this is the best thing I've drank in a long time. It's perfect. I love where certain beers have gone, but I also love some classics, and this is just such a classic. But they have this body to their stouts that's incredible. But I went to Gatineau a few months ago and hung out with Jacob, who's the owner and does all the artwork and branding and all that stuff. And it's just, I don't know. It's just like you said, Greg. Like it's just this warming atmosphere where everyone's cool and no one's pretentious. Or maybe Matt was saying that. Sorry. And everyone who works there is chill. And yeah, I have a thing with arrogance, and I have a thing with like overconfidence. It rubs me the wrong way, and I get like no vibes. Like I get like the opposite vibes when I go there. Like, are we doing okay enough for you, Matt? Like, are we performing well enough for you? If not, we can change. You know what I mean? Like, it's just that, like, we are here for you. It's humbling to be around these guys. It's great.
Yeah. They're just impeccable, man. And it's very well deserved. And I feel like they're just, they're only coming up on 3 years old in May. Same as Third Moon, they open the same day, and it's they're pandemic babies, and to be this good in this shorter time frame, this fast, with this many restrictions on their business, speaks volumes about every individual in that business. I mean, obviously Dimitri's heading the brewing program, and he's just in some sort of a magician. This guy, in a different way than and he makes beer appear as opposed to disappear. And it's just crazy. They're just very thoughtful with everything they do, and they're very traditional. Like I always joke about doing a collab with a smoothie, and they almost get mad at me because that's how much they're not going to do it, because that's how much they believe in not doing it. And I think that's great that they really believe that that's not what we do. We do this. I'm like, fantastic.
Identity.
I think
it's a big part.
They were one of the ones who turned me on to barley wine after you convinced me to try them, Noah, and they're doing their bill in a barrel thing. Like, no, I really appreciate you, because you got me onto barley wine this year by the way you described it. I've told so many people about what you told me, and I'm very convinced. I've been buying a lot of barley wine lately, and a lot of imperial stouts, because I'm very much enjoying it, and I have a place for them now. And I feel like their series were really a part of that. So, like, even going as far as the wax-dipped barrel aged stuff, like, it's like, what can't these guys do to the end, to, like, the highest level of quality?
Yeah, and I remember Jacob not wanting to release a particular beer at a certain point because he just didn't feel it was right. Like, they will make the decision to pour something out or not release it based on quality, which is already really impressive. But I think a lot of breweries do that. But where I think they really shine is a testament to them taking risks at a time when sometimes people just want to double down on what's going to make your money or whatever, right? So, but they don't do that. They still release... I mean, they haven't done styles that are, like, completely inept, but just a straight Imperial Stout isn't a big seller, It's a big seller for Noah Forrest, but not many others necessarily, It's either the trendy pastry stuff or other things. You okay there, Matty boy?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was coughing and then I had to sneeze 3 times.
We blessed you aggressively.
Thank you.
You're right. I mean, they even did, like, they do the porter.
Because my cat's allergies coming through.
They even do their, like, Irish stout and
anyway,
English bitters.
They don't only do haze. Like, as much as I love what Masorum has done, they've, like, it's part of their image and it's part of who they are, and I want them to do that 110%. But what Masorum does is kind of like latch on to the hyper what's in the now, right? Like, haze is still here, lagers are still here, smoothies are kind of still here, big giant stouts, like, that's their thing. Whereas in Saint Campbell, I was like, no, we're going to release a classic Imperial Stout. We're going to do... are you drinking a Schwartz beer, basically?
It's a Schwartz beer.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. it's not like a popular style. And there's still like idea being that they're still making those risks, and it's impressive given when they started their business and all the challenges around that. It's commendable, and all the charity work, obviously, on the side and community work. They really deserve to be number one.
Yep.
Hell yes.
Yep.
Sankambado, number
Chelsea,
one.
Once again,
I can't love them enough. It's just every time I see a new beer from them, it comes back. And another beer. This is like Silo. There are beers that come back.
Yeah.
There are beers that come back.
Yeah.
It's cool.
And they tweak it,
you can
and they
fall
make
in
it
love
better.
with the beer. They tweak it. It comes back, and they like it more. I love that. Like flagships. Like multiple flagships. It's the future of beer. It's interesting that.
It's fantastic. It's exactly how it should be, and it's brilliant. And on that note, we're literally just hit 2 hours on the money, which we were trying.
I have one more. I'm sorry, I forgot. I have one more honorable mention.
No, please, because this is.
Come on!
I'm trying to keep it shorter for Vox&Hops, but the video. We can go all night, buddy.
I have one more, and I'm sorry. And if Kevin from La Canette added it to my list, and it's not true that he did, but he reminded me, and that's God damn, we're gonna fuck up the name. Ayawan.
Oh, Ayawan.
Oh, yes.
It's worth mentioning. I don't know if you guys have been there.
No, but I've heard great things.
Not yet. I've tried one or two cans, and they were good.
The beers are solid. The place and the vibe
church, right?
Is an old synagogue.
Synagogue.
The vibe of the place and the location of the place is a 13 on 10. It's fucking amazing.
Really?
So the beers are like 9, 8 on 10 there. So like everything like dances into like 10 on 10. So
that's
they
good.
are like with Jackal Hop, Ayawan are going to be on our list next year. I would pay attention to them if they grow, but I don't think they want to. It's like do they want to? You know, do they want to grow and have all the hype and become that fucking brewery that everyone's gonna fucking come to their little perfect town in northern Quebec on the way to Noël Tremblant in Val-Marin? But what a fucking place. It's on the side of a river. You can people like canoe there, and there's like a dock that you can dock your canoe at to go get beers. Gorgeous. Just fucking amazing.
Sounds like a summer vibe right now.
Yes.
Summer.
That's racist.
Summer.
That's racist.
Yeah, that's
summer.
Oh yeah.
I had to add them because I truly believe that they're something to watch.
Okay, I think that's good. That's a honorable mention. That would be cool to have on the pod too if you ever feel like that, Matt. Seriously, like either of you guys. Yeah. If you wanted to,
I can poke them and then they probably say yes. Yeah.
All right, we'll talk. I definitely want to get some.
Matt's always poking people. That's all.
Matt is just a pokey guy, and that's what we love him for.
A poker.
He's a poker. He's what he does. Ask Jess. That's how we get
top
down.
10. Top 10 of Quebec.
Quebec.
Through them. I'm proud of Quebec this year. I feel like
very
there's
proud of
consistency. Identity.
Every year, but this year especially, for sure.
It was exceptional. Yeah, man. All they ticked all the boxes, all the things that we talked about. So many fantastic breweries. It was difficult to actually trim it down to this 10 plus honorable mentions. Even over and above the honorable mentions, there's so many breweries that deserve to mention. That you can only really do so much. We're already 2 hours. We try to keep this 60 to 90 minutes, but here we are. So it's I feel like this is a good sign. If we keep yapping and we keep talking so gushingly about all these places, that's a really, really good sign for Quebec craft beer. I'm very excited for 2023 to see where it all goes. I feel very optimistic too. I really feel like the scene has just been enviable for anywhere in the country and beyond. So, that's 2022 is one of the best years yet. Next year.
Yes. Noah, concluding thoughts.
I think.
What are you laughing
this
bro?
year?
Your breath.
Is it the acoustics of it?
It might be, okay, go for it. 2023, your thoughts.
2023, I think we're going to see more lagers still. I think that whole spectrum. I'm hoping to kind of see. I feel like beer should be like fashion, and that things can kind of like circle back in. So maybe the Belgian quad or the Belgian double or box or like doppel box. You know, like let's see the brewers of today tackle those styles. I would love to see something like that. Whether it's going to happen, I don't know, because I just made it up. But
Silo, we're looking at you.
What you had a buck tonight, right? Like that was cool.
Indeed. It's something I haven't had.
Silo and second battle, they kind of have similarities in it a little bit. But for me this year, I've drank a lot of what I was kind of like those breweries that I feel like have refined it. There are a lot of new breweries, but at the same time, I think a lot of the newer breweries have just continued to build on what they've done and make it that much better. And Cinquième Baron was our favorite from last year, and I think they've surpassed where they were last year, and now are on a whole other level and tier.
Yeah, couldn't agree more, and I hope for the same, dude. I like that a lot. I would definitely want to see more Crispies. I kind of want to I echo what Matt was saying about the pastries, and I'd like to just see more straight up and down bourbon or just barrel aged imperial stouts, either if it's just with coffee or with coconut. Maybe less adjuncts, and maybe a focus more on the refined versions of those stouts, because I drink a lot of them by myself. I don't always split them with Tiff, and if they're a straight up and down stout, a bourbon barrel aged stout, like I can drink them by myself with no problem on the nights that I put aside to do those things. So I'm like, I'd like to see a little bit more of that. You know, I imagine when Hayes isn't going anywhere, I want to see more.
Bellwoods kills that. I know I'm doing in Ontario, but they do it well.
They do it exceptionally well. One thing I want to shout, we didn't shout out Cinquième for, was their West Coast IPA. So Nate and I did a podcast recently just on West Coast, and I found that Cinquième have almost single-handedly brought back the West Coast IPA. So I really would like to see more breweries do it at the level. Cinquième have like 10 different ones. How the fuck do you have 10 very, very different West Coast IPAs? From pale to double. It's insane. We had two of them. We had two.
Honestly, sorry.
No, please.
Mistorum has had like a West Coast on here and there, and it's okay.
Is that okay? That one?
No. I don't think so. But it should have been. But it's fine. Like it works, but it doesn't have that same thing that the Cinquièmes have. I'm hoping they can refine that and like have like a nice lineup of West Coast, because that would be amazing if that could be their next thing.
I want to see that.
But yeah, that's what Cinquième has, right? They have
all
the beers named by trees, right?
Cypress, Witchwood, Douglas, Sitka, Juniper, all that shit. Juniper's a 5%, Sitka's at 8%. Double Douglas is just dropping this week.
Juniper's fucking good.
Juniper's incredible. We had Cypress and Sitka.
That over any New England style pale ale.
Dude,
hands down.
I agree. And Nate and I were basically circle jerking over West Coast, and I feel like I'm like, it's like midnight, and we're just like I was texting, like, yo, I'm having a West Coast. This is the best shit ever. Like.
Do you guys like? Yeah, I'm sorry.
We can talk about.
We
can talk about that.
Inappropriate.
Yeah, but no, I just feel like the West Coast are like, and I think Cinquième are leading the charge in Quebec, and I really want to see, like, for the podcast, we did 2 from Ontario, 2 from Quebec, and the 2 we did were from Cinquième in Quebec, because we couldn't think of any other West Coast IPA that was regular. There's not, and that's the thing, because we didn't want to make it like hard to get or one-offs. We wanted to show the 2 we showed from Ontario were ones that you could get from the LCBO.
There's Nocton, that is the old school West Coast IPA.
But is it as good as
my favorite? Honestly, avant-gardes have been good.
The which?
Legit. But not as good, but a few from avant-garde that I had for West Coast were solid.
So I'd like to see more of those anyway in 2023. I feel like that's where I think it's time to bring. Every brewery should maybe have a flagship West Coast IPA again, and
Yes.
or even if you
Flex.
bring it back 3 times a year or
Flex.
something like that.
Flex the hops and the malts, people.
Yeah, man, just do it right
Come on.
and balance out the haze fucking thing. Haze is great, but like you want something different.
Cool.
Yeah, man, bring it.
Resinous.
But make it more
malty.
Refined. Yeah, all of those things, but make it refined, and that's exactly what I think Senki.
I'd be like, imagine like Masorum doing what they did with lagers and applying that to
West
Coast,
like
the OG, even just like the OG Pale Ale from Sierra Nevada or something like that.
The Piney the Elder.
Yeah,
or something like Pliny. Yeah, exactly. That legit first ever double IPA that ever existed, right?
Yes,
that was
there you go.
That's like literally the OG.
I have a sad story.
What do I
Not
want
like the OG in the sense that it's the best, but it's like literally the first double IPA. I think.
Yeah.
2023. What do I want? I want to drink better. I'm putting a goal for myself on this podcast. I want to drink smarter.
Better?
That's better and smarter for myself.
I like that.
The craft beer wizard makes beers disappear.
I'm here for that, man. That's
but he wants to make the right beers disappear at the right time, and that's something that I'm putting in as a goal for myself. I want to see more West Coasts. I want to see more crushable beers. I want to drink more low ABV beers. I want more. Yes. I do not like fucking nano IPAs. I want to see less of those. Those suck. I don't want to see. I want less of them. They suck.
They're awful.
Everything 5%, 5 to 7 is good.
In IPA land, yes. Hoppy land, yes.
Almost anything, 5 to 7.
No, that's not true. Because lagers, you can go to a 3% lager and it's fucking killer.
It's true, but I'd probably rather 4.5, 4.4.
But why can a low percentage lager work, but a hoppy one doesn't work? Why does it taste like hop juice?
Not enough base to hold the hop.
I guess. So I want.
Yeah, I think it's about balance. It's like. Sorry.
I'm listening to you. You got that 7-second delay there.
Oh, it
got better when we started recording.
So what I was gonna say was, I don't remember. Just
hop juice.
Sorry.
I want less nano IPAs. I want no session IPAs. No one wants a session.
No one wants session IPAs. Nobody. Who wants them?
No one wants them. Stop making
Nobody.
them. It's stupid.
It's
Make
silly.
a pale ale. Make a pale ale.
They suck.
Make a 4.5% pale ale.
There you go. Fuck session IPAs. Done. It's gone. It's over.
I mean, that's basically just a session IPA.
That's what I'm saying. But call it a pale ale. Like, fuck session
IPA.
IPA.
You'll sell more if you call it a pale ale.
Because it's intentional. No one wants a session IPA. They want a pale ale.
Yes, because pale ales are cool.
Yeah, pale ales are cool. Session IPAs are not. It just.
I want to. No fucking lactose in beers. I want smart barrel aged beers.
Okay.
I want
okay,
less adjuncts. I want people to be more creative and more loving and more inclusive. That's what I want for 2023.
Yes, sir. Preach.
Yeah.
Can I take the screenshot before my camera dies? Let's get let's get the screenshot because my camera's gonna fail.
All the didn't even flinch when he said no lactose in beers.
I've changed, Noah.
Craig, you've evolved.
Quickly.
You're.
I know. I've changed.
Well,
I've changed.
so
What can I say? Well, lactose is cool, but lactose was so 2017, 2018. There we go.
Was it? But lactose was so much fun on my balcony.
It was fun.
My balcony. Yeah.
Right. I do love a good lactose. Oh yeah, the deck lactose, that was the best. All right, y'all ready? Gorgeous.
Hold on, wrong hand. Hold on,
I can take it again. I can take it again. Okay, hold that. Okay, I've got that here. We've got the beer like that. Boom, boom. Ready? Got it. All right. To wrap this up, take it on home. Where can everyone find you online, starting with Noah?
I am on Facebook, Beerism, Instagram, beerism.ca. My website is beerism.ca. And every once in a while, I show my face on podcasts like Vox&Hops and BAOS.
You better
The two
keep doing that.
best
Ooh.
podcasts in the entire fucking world.
I didn't say it. No,
I mean, maybe not, but I like them. I like them just the way they are.
I respect it. Matthew,
We love you.
we love you very
You
much.
can find everything about Vox and Hops on voxandhops.com. That's voxandhops.com. I release at least one episode a week. I have 380 episodes where I hang out with fellow metal musicians. We talk all about their lives, music, and craft beer. It's a passion of mine. I love it, and I can't wait to see what's coming up through in 2023.
I love it. You guys can get us at BAOS Podcast everywhere, every social media. I'll wrap this up for the video, then we'll chat off air. But boys,
Yeah, I think you wrap it up.
I'll wrap it up from my side, and then I can cut it, and then you can do your
wrap it up. You cut it, and I'll wrap mine after. Thank
yeah,
you.
exactly.
Sorry.
You know
We're gonna
that.
talk
Love you both dearly. Stay online, obviously. After this, we'll finish up. But this is great. Fourth annual Top 10 Breweries in Quebec. We're gonna do this every year until we fucking die at 110. That's what's gonna happen.
We've drank too much.
It's okay. I don't give a shit. Congrats to all the breweries who are mentioned here. Congrats to everyone making beer in Quebec. You're all legends, and we appreciate you all very, very much. And we're excited for what 2023 has to offer. Guys, if you enjoyed the episode, smash the thumbs up. Hit subscribe below. Hit the notification bell. Oh, shit. The camera fucking died right in the middle of my shit. I'm not even going to try and fix it. What is it? Smash the thumbs up. Hit the notification bell.
BOS something C brutified boo-head.
That seems offensive. Follow us everywhere.
Sorry.
I don't even fucking know anymore. Just we drop podcasts every week and shit. Every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. I imagine there'll be some coming soon. This will drop before Christmas. I hope Santa brings you everything you goddamn want, and everything you want is craft beer from Quebec. Get that in your fucking face. Love you both very much, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Cheers.
Bye.